Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, in this segment, we are discussing the government support to the private sector, businesses and investors. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have this phone with Dr. Yomn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Ain Shams University. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, Dr. Yomn, could you give us your insight concerning the importance of the private sector as an essential pillar of the Egyptian economy?
Yes, indeed. The private sector should actually, for any economy, lead, the shares of investment on generating GDP. And what happened during the last period for the Egyptian economy is that the rate or the participation of the private sector has decreased significantly. And according to that, the government, specified, some goals in order to enhance the role of the private sector from 30% into 65% during 3 years. And according to that, the government started to address the main challenges confronting the participation of the private sector, including bureaucracy, including, if we revise doing business index, we can see to how extent the private sector in Egypt was suffering during this period from bureaucracy, from corruption, from delays in, having approval in several, in several dimensions. And I believe that the government started to put plans and to facilitate and to ease the environment for investment for the private sector. We have at the same time the initiative of the golden license, in which, the investor proving, the visibility of his project, he is taking this license so that he can start immediately his work and investment. So I believe all these steps is needed to be evaluated thoroughly and taking into consideration the feedback from the business sector itself. This is what we need to do on the ground so that we can identify what are the obstacles preventing the private sector to lead and to participate. Since Egypt nowadays is a land full of opportunities and opportunities of quite profitable investment, taking into consideration what has been done regarding the reform of the infrastructure, upgrading the infrastructure in Egypt. And nowadays we have another plan in order to upgrade our labor human resources. So all this may enhance the role of the private sector in the economy. Still, we have some challenges regarding, the participation of youth in small business, is still quite minimal. And above all, what we need to tackle immediately is uncertainty regarding our exchange rate. Because, without addressing such a problem, I don't believe that the private sector is going to take any decisions for this period of uncertainty. Because you cannot actually calculate your costs and benefit in a good way. And from my point of view, I consider that this should be done, as a priority for Egypt for this period.
Yes, Dr. Hamaki, you've mentioned also the challenges facing the private sector in Egypt, also the facilitations and the support that the government of Egypt provide to the private sector, and the vice versa, the support that the private sector gives to the Egyptian economy. So my question now, what about the increase of local industries by the role that is played by the private sector?
Actually, the industrial sector in Egypt is quite full of good opportunities. Since in Egypt we have the supply chains for a lot of industries still are needed for more and more investors to come so that we can enhance the competitiveness of the industry. I'll give you some examples regarding chemical industries that nowadays we have petrochemical industry. We are going thoroughly towards our mining sector to enhance the capabilities of the mining sector. So these are the raw materials for chemical industries, and we are importing a huge amount of chemical industries in order to support our a lot of industries as raw materials and intermediate goods. So if we can activate our chemical industries by encouraging investors to come and to, exploit our mineral resources as well as petrochemicals into generating and producing a lot of chemicals that we are already importing, I believe this can be considered as very profitable investment in Egypt. So this is from one side. From another, the other, because we have for the industrial sector backward relations and forward relations. So this is one side. The other side is regarding feeding industries. And I believe there is also a lot of potentialities regarding that. So we have a lot of studies as economists about the value chain for each industry and which industries can attract, investors, either foreign investors, and the importance of foreign investors is regarding the transfer of technology, because Egypt indeed needs for the transfer of technology. So this from one side. From another side, a lot of potentialities for our youth to form small industries in order to feed the large industries. And we have our studies regarding which industries are in deep need for that. We need to organize our home, and we have a lot of resources, but unfortunately we are not organizing such resources towards having the best value added and the best opportunity of jobs and the competitiveness that may lead us to increase our export and to enhance our competitiveness. We need a lot of work to be done. We need efficiency in doing our work, so that I believe that Egypt is full of resources, as I mentioned before, and just we need to work hard so that we can exploit such resources.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Yomn Hamaki, Professor of Economics, Ain Shams University. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. I really had the pleasure to have this phone with you. And with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, The Breakfast Show. I was in the company of my colleague, Shireen Adel. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.